I'm Soledad O'Brien. Welcome to Matter of Fact. For actor, producer, and musician Common, his list of accomplishments is long. He's won an Oscar, an Emmy, a Grammy for his music, which often carries a social message about the history of race in America. So it's been a natural transition from artist to activist. He performed at last weekend's March Against Gun Violence in Washington. He uses social media to reach more than 5 million followers. He's been speaking out against the police shooting of an unarmed black man in Sacramento. 22-year-old Stephon Clark was killed in his grandmother's backyard by police who say they thought he had a gun. The only item discovered at the scene was a cell phone. And then there was the recent decision not to file charges against police officers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for the 2016 deadly shooting of 37-year-old Alton Sterling. It's a decision that's been condemned by civil rights activists. So there's lots to talk about. Common, thanks for being with me today. Nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you bet.
How are you?
I'm really well. How are you? You're the one who's lighting the world on fire.
I'm striving, but I'm feeling great.
Were you an activist first who then did activism in your music, or would you say you're a musician who sort of found his way to activism?
Yeah. Growing up on the south side of Chicago, just the culture itself and the people that I grew up around, the information I got kind of created an activist in me. But I entered as an artist, and my first music wasn't really socially conscious. It was just like a guy rapping, just wanting to be good. But once I saw what music can do and art could do, that's when I put the activism with the music. Was
there a particular moment or a thing that made you say, actually I can use this platform to try to push people to change?
I did a song about abortion called Retrospect for Life. It was with Lauryn Hill. And when some people came to me and told me they decided to have their child instead of having an abortion because of that song, I was like, wow, music is powerful, art is powerful.
Do you ever worry, in the context where we are right now, that people are going to go through protest exhaustion? You feel like everything is hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag Me Too, hashtag Never Again.
I remember I was working on something called After the Marches. And when I looked at what we're doing with the marches and with the hashtags, I was like, it has to be something that connected after that, something that is a action move. And I think we're starting to see that come into play when you see like what the young people from Parkland, and just not only just Parkland, but a lot of young people are doing with trying to move gun laws.
The young people from Parkland are so impressive. But I have to say, sometimes I think there were so many young black people, kids, talking about gun violence, especially in the city of Chicago. And the media really didn't try to profile them, elevate them, tell their story.
Yeah.
Is that, what do you think that is?
Seeing the kids from Parkland, what I was most impressed by is the fact that first of all, they definitely know what they're talking about, but they acknowledged how black people in the inner cities, black and brown people, but black people in the inner cities were dealing with this gun violence for a long time. And they acknowledged how they are privileged, but they're using that privilege in a way that's powerful.
Is your goal to get more young people and people of color to vote? Because I've really enjoyed following what Colin Kaepernick is doing and really watching that movement grow. But he's very adamant that he did not vote, and he doesn't believe a vote can make a difference. And I worry about that message.
I didn't think my vote would matter. I didn't think the political process was fair, and I still don't believe it's always fair. But one of the things that really sparked that for me, to be honest, I mean, I was voting before this, but being a part of the movie Selma and studying the people of the civil rights movement, the women and men who changed laws and went out and not only protested, but like I said, got policies changed, it made me say, wait, wow.
Your group, August Green, has a song, Black Kennedy.
Yeah.
The last lines are, had our first black president, I'ma be the sequel. What's that mean exactly?
I just was, first of all, the song is actually talking about black excellence. We called it Black Kennedy because it's just, like the thoughts came to my mind about just being in black excellence and royalty. But that
Sounds like you're running for president.
That
You know, I mean, I
line.
ask a lot of people on the show, like, so, sounds like you're running for the presidency one day.
I mean, that was just a thought. You know, I felt like, oh man, I would be a good president, but I you know, I wouldn't run for president. But that was just a little thought. You know, when you're creating, you just say certain things. That's what the imagination.
So I can't break the news that Common's running 2020.
No.
You probably could win that.
I don't know.
So nice to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, you bet.